So one of my favorite fear release techniques for pregnant women and any human really, and it's something that I use all the time, it's called EFT or Emotional Freedom Technique. Some people also simply call it tapping. So EFT is based on the knowing that there is this electrical system running through our body, and it is humming with the power to put it simply, shift negative emotions, negative ideas, negative feelings into the positive alternative. And so the idea is that we have these pathways running through our body, pathways called meridians. And in these pathways, we have energy or chi, our life force, running through these pathways. And when we tap, we're working with the endpoints of these meridians. And I'll get to the actual process of tapping in a moment. But to understand this system a little bit more, think of yourself as a TV set. And imagine if somebody took a screwdriver and jammed it into the back of that TV set. It would mess with all the wires, the TV wouldn't work properly, it would be all screwed up. So when our own electrical system within our body, when it is screwed up by stress, trauma, fear, we don't feel settled. We don't feel harmonious. It's harder to live a happy, healthy life. So we want that energy to be flowing seamlessly, to have this like amazing positive charge so we can feel good and so we can let go of anxieties and fears. Okay, so how do we do this? All right, so the first thing we want to do before we start tapping is to figure out what issue we want to work with, because it's not really something that you say, okay, I'm going to tap and get rid of all my fears. You want to focus on the one thing that is causing you the most distress. And after you reset your energy around that one issue, you can move on to others. So we want to pick one thing at first. The first time I ever did this, I worked on my fear of flying. I'm happy to say I no longer have a fear of flying. I still have to tap about it every now and then, but I completely credit EFT for getting rid of that fear. But because I'm assuming most people watching this are pregnant, we'll use the example of fear of childbirth. That's a pretty common one, right? So we decide we're going to work with the fear of childbirth. And so the first thing you need to do is figure out how much distress this fear is causing you. So you would think on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being like, this fear is causing me so much distress, I can barely function, and 1 being like, kind of bothers me, but not really. So let's see, the first time I did this, I think I was about a 6. I was pretty fearful. It wasn't completely debilitating, but it was definitely there and it was impacting me. So you decide like, all right, it's about at a 6. And then the next thing we do is we create like an affirmation around this fear. So you would say, although I have this fear of childbirth, I still profoundly and wholly love and accept myself. So although I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely, wholly love and accept myself. And then with that issue in mind, knowing how much distress it's causing us and having our affirmation, then we can start the tapping process. And again, the idea is that as you hold this idea in your mind and you tap on these energy points, again, you are resetting your energy around the specific issue that you are working with, and to really allow your body to feel and know what issue you're working on. Before you start tapping, what you do is you find what are called tinder spots. So here's your collarbone. You go about 2 or 3 inches down and you find these tinder spots, and you rub those while saying the affirmation. So although I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. And I'm not rubbing my boobs, I'm rubbing a couple inches above. Here, let me get up a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so like right here, these are your tinder spots. Okay, so you've rubbed your tinder spots, you have your affirmation, now we're ready to actually tap. Our energy system is primed to be reset around the issue of a fear of childbirth. Okay, so and I'm going to have a diagram pop up so it's more clear. But I'm going to go through it first, and then I'll show you a diagram so you can really see the points. And I think on this video, I'm also going to attach a PDF below that has the instructions for this and has the diagram of the tapping points. So, all right, so we're going to start tapping because we want to hit both sides of the electrical system at the same time. I want you to use your pointer fingers as we're going through the different points. So here's point 1. So we're just tapping. We say our affirmation. Although I have a fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Although I have a fear of childbirth, I still completely, wholly love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. And I'm doing right under the armpits. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Now, even though I have this fear, there you go. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. And I know it seems a little bit complicated now, but as you get to know these points, these 10 points, it just feels like second nature cycling through those. Okay, so you've done the first round of tapping, and now you just close your eyes and you focus again on that fear of childbirth, and you ask yourself, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's my level of distress now? So for example, like I'm thinking back to when I did it. So I said, okay, so 6 was my original number. I think after tapping 1 or 2 times, it was like down to a 4. So it's like, all right, when I think about that fear, it doesn't trigger me as much. I don't feel my heart rate elevate. I don't feel like I'm starting to sweat, like I can't breathe as much. It's not affecting me as much. And so you can do it again. So saying your affirmation, there's point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so you just repeat that process. So you do the tapping, close your eyes, reassess, like, all right, what's the level of distress now? Tap again, reassess. And ideally you get down to a 1 or even a 0 with how much distress that issue now causes you. And sure, you might have to tap a couple times around one issue. It's not just one time and like magically that fear is gone forever. Like with my fear of flying, I usually do some tapping before I get to the airport, and I usually do a round of tapping, like maybe 2 or 3 rounds of tapping when I'm actually on the airplane, and then I feel pretty good and pretty calm during the process. So this might sound a little bit confusing, but with practice, it becomes really simple. So to cycle through it one more time, so you choose the issue you want to work with. You decide on a scale of 1 to 10 how much distress it's causing you. Then you say your affirmation. So although I have a fear of tearing during childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Even though I have a fear of tearing during childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. Then you rub those tender spots, saying your affirmation again. Although I have this fear of tearing during childbirth, I still completely love and accept myself. And then, all right, your energy system knows what you're working with. And then you start to do your tapping. Fear of childbirth, love and accept myself. Fear of childbirth, love and accept myself. Fear of childbirth, love and accept myself. Under the armpits, under the boobs. Karate chop, chop, chop. Top of the head. And that's one round tapping. Then again, you reassess. If you're not at a 1 yet, then you do it again. Just taking some deep breaths in between and allowing your breath to support the process of resetting that energy system, releasing that fear, releasing that anxiety. I actually feel pretty amazing after just like doing this tutorial. Um, to some people, they're like, that sounds kind of silly. I can't imagine that actually works. But you know, you think about how effective acupuncture, acupressure is. I mean, this is real. This works. So I really recommend trying it. It takes barely any time at all once you get the hang of it. So keep practicing, keep utilizing it for different issues, and I can almost guarantee your stress, your anxiety, your fear levels will be significantly reduced.